What's going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about the sales script that's responsible for over $10 million in sales from both myself and the clients that we've helped over just the past couple of years. And so what happens is most videographers and video business owners are going about sales completely wrong, and they're going about it in a way that's not actually going to help them close the sale. And fundamentally, no matter how hard you try or how much you lower your price, you're typically not going to get the deal because you're making these mistakes. And so in today's video, we're going to be talking about what those mistakes are and how you can actually solve them. And if you don't know me, my name is Deeran, and I run Master Filmmaker, and it is a coaching program for video business owners, videographers, and I make these videos for free. So you'll use them, make some money, trust me, and then join our full program if you want. So let's go ahead and dive in. So this is our sales meeting cheat sheet. It's something that we give all of our clients and we help them through. There's more in-depth pieces of this. I'm just going to go over kind of a broad stroke. And I'm going to talk about number one first, why most of you guys are not getting the deals that you want. So there's two different types of people in a sales meeting. There's a waiter and there's a doctor. And what the problem is most of you guys are just a waiter, right? So you're just an order taker. You're somebody who just takes orders about what kind of content the client wants. You're not somebody who's actually prescribing a solution like a doctor. Like, would you go into a doctor's office and say, hey, I want these kinds of medicine, right? I want this only, give it to me. No, of course not, because they would laugh at you and say, get the heck out of my office. Like, I'm not just going to give you medicine without properly diagnosing your problems and your pain points and your symptoms and what's going on, right? But the problem is like the way that people are coming to you, which is what we call the frame. This is something I was talking about with one of our clients the other day. The frame to which people are coming to you is they're saying, hey, I want this video and I want to tell you what I want, right? And so when they say that in the beginning, they're doing what we call taking frame. And what that means is they're basically saying, I want this, and they're the ones in the authority position and you're the ones in the submissive position, if you will, right? So like if I come and hop on a call and get on a Zoom call with you and say, hey, Eric, I want this thing. This is what I want. And you're just like, okay, I'll give that to you. And then I'm like, I want a price. And you're like, okay, it's this much. And then I say, it's too much. I can't afford that. Give me a cheaper price. Then you're like, okay, let me just lower my prices. That's why most of you guys are struggling, right? Because you're not taking a consultative doctor selling approach to your conversations. Instead, you're just saying, hey, let me just take orders from you and just do whatever you want so I can hopefully get the deal. And what that does is it puts you in commodity-based pricing, and it puts you in a place where you're competing with everyone else on how much you charge, what you offer, right? And it's a race to the bottom at the end of the day. And so you really need to be focusing on how can I get frame back in the beginning of the call. So what that means is like if somebody hopped on with me and said, Eric, I want this, this, and this, I'd say, well, hold on a second. Let's talk about what your actual goals are. And then we can reverse engineer and figure out how we could actually help get you there. And then we can see, I'd be happy to recommend whatever content or strategy I think is going to be best based on the problems that you're experiencing. Does that sound fair? Yes. So what I did is I just took frame back there. I just said, let me take that back from you. This is what we're going to do. This is how the process is going to work. And I'm going to be controlling this call, not you. And if you can't get frame back in the beginning, it's almost impossible to close the deal because they're the ones controlling everything in the call. Right? So let's go ahead and dive into what the actual stages of a call are. So a couple different stages. So stage number one is what we call intro and rapport. And what this means is we're basically just doing a very quick intro into who you are and what you do. And this is also where we build a little bit of rapport. We get to know them for like 2 to 3 minutes. Now, don't spend a ton of time on this section. A big mistake a lot of people make here is they spend way too much on intro rapport. And they basically say like, I'm going to spend, 5 minutes talking about the weather or their favorite sports team or blah, blah, blah. And like none of that stuff actually matters at the end of the day. I would just do a quick, hey, how are you? How can we help? What are you looking for specifically? And obviously we give our clients a full sales script. This is just kind of an abbreviation that I'm giving you guys here in this YouTube video. But like, we just want to go a quick, hey, what's going on? How can we help? What made you book a call with me and want to talk about what we might have to offer, right? And so like what we do here is this is what we call taking frame, where we say, what made you want to book a call with me, or what made you want to hop on the phone with me? When I say what made you want to hop on the phone with me, what that does is it puts me in the position of power because I'm saying, what made you want to hop on a call with me, right? And because we're setting up an inbound system, it's a lot easier to do that because they literally booked on my calendar. And so like the frame that I can take is super, super strong in these situations because I can say, hey, what made you want to hop on the phone with me? So I'm basically sitting back and in a subtle way, I'm saying, explain yourself. I'm the person of high status. I'm the person who is going to say what we're going to be doing here. And how can we help, right? Because when you take that frame, they have to fall into the lower frame and you are naturally above them in that conversation. And we're not trying to be better than people or be a jerk or anything like that, but we are trying to put ourselves in a place where we're the authority on the call, right? Like a doctor, you walk into his office, he's the authority in his office. You're not going to tell him what to do or her what to do, right? So intro rapport, we're going to build a little bit of rapport. Just ask them like, what are you looking for specifically? How can we help? What can we do? What are some of the problems you're going through, right? Just a brief overview. And then number 2, what we're going to be doing is identifying partners. And so at this stage, we're really trying to figure out, hey, is everyone that needs to be on the call here? Because it's easier to identify partners in the beginning than it is later down the line when they become a problem and they say, I need to talk to my wife, my partner at the end of the call. And so we want to say like, hey, are there any other partners involved in the business that need to be present for this conversation? Like, is there anybody else who might need to be here? And then they're typically going to say yes or no. If they say no, then we progress forward with the call. If they say, hey, you know what, my wife really needs to be here. She's involved in the business, or my partner needs to be here, or my husband needs to be here. He's really involved in the business. Then we say, hey, no problem. Why don't we put this conversation on pause? I want to make sure that both of you understand, we can understand from both of your point of views what's going on in the business and how we can help with content. Why don't we reschedule for when both of you guys can hop on? And then you just simply reschedule the call at that point. Super simple. But if the partners are not there, do not move forward with the call because it's not going to go anywhere. Number 3 is our discovery phase. This is by far the most important part of your sales call. This is where we're going to go through our checklist questions that we develop with our clients, obviously, based on their offer, and understand their needs, where they want to go, and where they are, right? So this right here is by far one of the most important parts of the sale because we're doing what we call building a gap, which means they say, hey, we just ask like, where are you at right now in the business? Well, I'm at A. And then where are you looking to get to? Well, I want to get to B. And what we call here is the actual gap, right? So that's where they are, the difference between where they are and where they want to be. And then our product or service should help them close this gap here, right? So we should be closing the gap with the product or service. So an example of how you would do this is you'd say like, okay, Johnny, what's the overarching goal with content? Well, I want to get more leads and more calls from social media. Okay, no problem, Johnny. Absolutely. So I guess like how many leads and calls are you generating right now from social media? Oh, we're probably generating 5 to 10. Okay, gotcha. And then how many are you looking to be generating every single month? Oh man, well, we would love to be generating like 60 to 100 leads a month from social media for our medical practice or for our coaching business or for our home improvement company or whatever, right? And then because we did that, we just built a gap of, okay, you're at 5 to 10 right now. You want to get to 50, 60, 70, 100 per month. What are you doing to actually close that gap? Like, or how are you posting on social media? And this is where we would go through that. We give our clients a full checklist. So this might not make a ton of sense to you guys, but like we would go through questions that are related to what we offer. It's like, how are you posting on social media right now? Oh, well, I'm not doing anything right now. Okay, gotcha. And like, what kind of content are you posting? Oh, well, we don't really have any sort of types of content. We just kind of post randomly. Oh, okay, gotcha. And then like, as I'm asking these questions and they're answering like, oh, I don't have that in place. They're thinking to themselves and saying, oh, shoot, should I have that in place? And in their mind, they're building a gap from where they are to where they want to be. It's like if I asked you as a videographer or a video business owner, right? What kind of lead generation system do you have in place right now for your business? And some of you might be thinking to yourself right now saying, oh, shoot, I don't have anything. And then when I make you answer that question in a sales meeting in the discovery phase, you're saying to yourself, shoot, I don't have that in place. Should I have that in place? And I just built a mental gap in your head when I asked you that question, right? So that's the discovery phase. This is going to be 70 to 80% of your actual sale. So like most of your sales are going to come from having a killer discovery phase of your call and really getting into the nitty gritty of what your client's dealing with and how you can actually help solve that problem for them. So then step number 4 is going to be, again, the doctor phase where we're diagnosing the problem. So just like you would go to a doctor, they would ask you questions about your symptoms, which is their discovery phase right here. And then they would simply diagnose the problem that you're going through, right? So they would say like, okay, I feel like I have everything I need. is it cool if we kind of take some time, go back to the drawing board, run some tests, XYZ, whatever it may be. And then they'll typically, for some people at this point, they will schedule a second call. It just depends on your actual sales process. Or some people will just go directly into this in the same call. Now, in the diagnosis phase, we're just saying, okay, I feel like I understand everything you need or everything that you're going through. So number one, the first pain point you said you were going through is X. And the way we're going to solve that is by implementing our why. And then we're going to do this and go through all of their pain points in the call and simply just go through, hey, you're struggling with this. What we're going to do is XYZ, which is going to get you this solution, which will solve that problem. Makes sense? Check in. Yes. Okay, cool. And then number two, you mentioned that you don't have a way to generate actual content for your business. So the first thing we're going to do is X, which is going to help you get Y. And then we just go line by line and tackle every single pain point they told us about and how we're actually going to solve each pain point here. Now, I don't want you guys to get too overwhelmed here. We give our full clients an actual script of how to go through this. And I think we do 6 to 10 role plays a week going through how this actually works. So I don't want you to get too overwhelmed with this, but essentially here, we're helping them diagnose what the real problem is in their business based on all the things they told us about in the discovery up here. So after that, we're going into the pitch phase. So now that we've properly diagnosed what their problem is, what's going on, they've had an epiphany as to what they need to do to actually make the change to get to 100 leads a month or whatever their goal is, right? At this point, we're going to start pitching them what we actually do. And this is where we're going to go into your 5-step process. And if you don't have a 5-step process, obviously it's something we help our clients with. Develop a 5-step process so when they're pitching, they can say, hey, the first thing we're going to do is this. The second thing we're going to do is this. The third thing we're going to do is this. The fourth thing we're going to do is this. And the fifth thing we're going to do is this, which is going to help you get outcome, outcome, outcome. Does that make sense, Mr. Prospect? Yes, it does. Okay, great. Awesome. But that's going to be the pitch phase where we actually go through that, right? And then this is where they should say, this is where you should be answering their question where it's why should they care? So why should they care about these things that you're pitching them? Because they get them a result, right? Delta doesn't sell the plane ride, they sell the vacation. So you're selling the result of what it is that you're doing for your clients. Then comes the collections phase. This is where we're actually going to collect the money on the call. And a big mistake a lot of people make is they don't collect the money on the call. Collect the money on the call if they're ready to do it. If they aren't, then go for what we call a calendar commitment. This is where you get a set time in the calendar for when you're going to follow up with them or meet with them again. That way, when they get off the Zoom call or out of the in-person meeting, you're not texting them and chasing them and hoping and praying that they end up moving forward with you. You have a set time in a calendar that they're going to move forward with you on. This is the collections phase, and this is just where we go through. We confirm that this is the solution that they're looking for, and now is the right time. And this is where we collect that first payment and we close. And a big mistake a lot of people make is they simply don't collect payment on the call. The client's like, yeah, I'm super excited. Let's do this. And then just okay. And then they just get off the call. And I'm like, what are you doing, guys? They're ready to pay you. Just take, we have if you're not in our school community, there's a full sales call recording we have of how one of our clients, Dan, closed a $48,000 deal. And he just took the lawyer's card on the phone. He was just like, are you ready? He's like, yeah. And he just takes the card. Don't overcomplicate it, guys. That's the collections phase. And then finally, we have the objections phase. So some people or most people are going to have objections. And these are simply just concerns that they have about the product or service or questions they have. I think a lot of people think, oh, they said they weren't interested or, oh, they said it's not the right time. So I'm just going to take that as gospel. We have a specific way that we go about handling objections in a way that is not salesy, it's not icky, it's not weird, but you have to handle objections, guys. If you don't handle objections, you're losing out on probably 80 to 85% of your sales because everyone's going to have objections. Some of my best clients had objections before they moved forward with me and they're crushing it. That's just normal. That's how humans are. So don't be afraid if you get objections. You're simply just going to go through the process that we have laid out as far as how to handle each objection. And we have a whole training vault on 50 to 60 different objections that our clients get and how to handle them in our full program. So that's the objections phase. And then you conquer those objections and then you get them back into the collections phase where you collect the money again, right? So this is just a brief overview of how we actually go through our sales meetings, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions on this, just let us know. We're happy to answer anything you have. And shameless plug, if you want to learn how to actually close more deals like this, we have clients closing 5K deals all the way up to 200, 300K deals in our full program. And if you want to learn how to do that, there should be a link down below to schedule time with our team. And we're happy to go through that and happy to help in any way we can. With that being said, enjoy the videos on YouTube and we'll see you in the next video.